Reason number one, we want to expand the pool of buyers who are interested in your property and who are ready, willing, and able to make an offer. Buyers have the option of asking their agent to eliminate any properties from their search that would require them to pay agent compensation. This could result in fewer showings and fewer offers. Picture this. There are 3 homes for sale on the same street, and 2 of the sellers are offering to compensate both agents, and 1 is not. Which property do you think will be more attractive to buyers? Which one do you think is going to get more showings and sell first? So the question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to decrease or increase the number of buyers who will be interested in your property? Reason number 2, buyers are strapped for cash. Buyers are currently dealing with sales prices that are, in some property categories, twice what they were a few years ago, and interest rates that are, in some cases, 2.5 times what they were just a few years ago. To place the added burden of agent compensation only adds to the difficulties that buyers are already facing. And it's important to note that most lenders will not allow buyers to roll the cost of agent compensation into the loan. It will have to be paid out of pocket by the buyers. Consider the drastic effect this could have on younger first-time home buyers who have finally saved enough money for a down payment on a home. How much longer will they have to delay home ownership if they also have to save enough to pay their buyer agent? FHA loans were designed to get a buyer into a home with as little as 3.5% down. But with the added cost of agent compensation, home ownership may be unattainable. And VA loans were designed to get a veteran into a home with as little out-of-pocket expenses as possible. Making the opportunity to purchase a home with a VA loan more difficult is no way to treat those who have served our country. Now, in our market area, we tend to see older, more experienced buyers who are probably purchasing a vacation home or an investment property. But for some, this may be their first purchase in this type of market. Even if they're seasoned buyers, this may be their first experience in taking on an entire second set of property ownership related bills. So, if buyers are going to have to pay out of pocket for their down payment and agent compensation, this may result in the following. A, some buyers may drop out of the market completely. Shelter is a basic human necessity. A vacation home is not. B, buyers may choose to purchase lower priced properties and may not be able to afford your property's price range. C, buyers may make lowball offers on properties which are unattractive or even insulting to sellers. It gets the negotiations off to a bad start, sometimes resulting in the buyer and seller being unable to reach an agreement. And D, in order to pay agent compensation, buyers may attempt to reduce their down payment and borrow more. The lower the down payment, the more difficult it could be to obtain financing. So the question you need to ask yourself is, if buyers are going to have a difficult time purchasing properties, is withholding buyer agent compensation really to your benefit? Reason number 3, buyers may want to choose to be represented by their own agent and want that agent to be compensated. Buyers may have spent several months or even years working with an agent that they know and trust. If the seller isn't offering compensation and the buyers can't afford to pay, the buyers will have to make a tough decision. Choice A, some buyers may believe that if they contact the seller's agent, that they will not have to pay any compensation and that everyone saves money. Although that may be the case, it's unlikely. Why? When most buyer's agents, including myself, work with both buyers and sellers at the same time, we may slightly reduce our fee, but not eliminate one side of it completely, because one agent is doing twice the work. When I'm working with a buyer and a seller, I have two separate and distinct checklists. If I miss any step on either list, the transaction may be at risk of falling through. Or choice B, buyers may choose to forego any representation and try to complete the entire process without the assistance of a real estate professional. Do you think that buyers on their own can successfully do all of the things that are on my buyer checklist? Do they even know what items need to be on the list? An agent in the Chicago area tracked data for transactions in which buyers were unrepresented. He found that 78% were unsuccessful and did not make it to closing. Additionally, a situation in which sellers have representation but buyers do not creates an uneven playing field because you have an agent representing you, but they do not. Some real estate experts are predicting that we may see an increase in buyers suing sellers because they feel they were victimized in some way. The question you need to ask yourself is, do you want to take on the pitfalls and possible risks of being the only represented party in the transaction? Would you have wanted to be the unrepresented party when you purchased this property? Which leads us to reason 4. In order to be a successful seller, you need to think like a buyer. When you purchased this property, you probably selected the buyer's agent of your choice, and the seller paid your agent's compensation. You probably had the guidance and advice of an experienced real estate professional. But if the seller hadn't compensated your agent, what effect would this have had on your decision making at that time? Would you have even purchased this property? So the question to ask yourself is, do I remember what it was like to be on the other side of the transaction? What seller actions would have helped or hindered me when I purchased this property?
Please watch part 3 of this video series, in which we'll discover that not all agents offer the same level of services, and who you choose as your agent really matters.